Hey, what's up? It's Primetime Football, and today I'm going to be talking about JT Daniels. But first, I'm going to start from the beginning back in the Jake Fromm days for Georgia. You know, a lot of people feel like, including myself, a good quarterback, a playmaking quarterback, is what's holding Georgia back from winning a national championship. They have all this talent, offense and defense, and they just haven't been able to take it to the next level, which is the national championship. And I mean, yeah, like I said, talent's not the issue. It's just the quarterback spot. It's been the weakness. They have good running backs every year. They have a good offensive line, great defense every year. Wide receivers, I think, have actually been really good besides last year. They've had some NFL wide receivers on that team, and right now, wide receivers definitely not a problem. So going into this season, Georgia, after Jake Fromm left, Georgia had two transfer quarterbacks come in who were both pretty highly rated, and a lot of people were pretty high on both these quarterbacks, Jamie Newman and then JT Daniels. So, of course, Jamie Newman comes in. Everybody was expecting him to be the starter for Georgia. I think he would have been. All around the country, people were expecting Georgia to finally have a good quarterback. He was ranked pretty high on the Heisman odds, all that stuff. Then kind of out of nowhere, he just decided to opt out. He said it's because of COVID. We all know that's not actually true. But I don't know. There's kind of a question around that. Like, we don't know why he opted out. There's some rumors around that he was scared he was going to lose a job to JT Daniels. I don't know how much truth there is to that. But yeah, I mean, it's just kind of a question on why he left. So after Jamie Newman left, that left you with JT Daniels coming off a knee injury, kind of still getting healthy again. You had D'Wan Mathis, who was off of a brain surgery, but he was ready to go and healthy. Georgia fans, especially, were very high on him. And then you had Carson Beck, the freshman, and Stetson Bennett, who nobody even thought was part of the discussion, And at that point, I had thought that JT Daniels was still going to get the start. I didn't know he wasn't, or I still don't know if he wasn't really 100% healthy. But I thought he was going to be Georgia quarterback the whole season. And a lot of people did as well. But then, they come out with D'Wan Mathis. He gets taken out. Stetson Bennett comes in. Stetson Bennett takes over for most of the season. He was not very good. Then the whole time everybody's wondering, where's JT Daniels? He was cleared in week 2. So where is he? We obviously have problems at quarterback. So finally Kirby decides to put him in against Mississippi State after the season's over. They already have 2 losses, and then you bring in JT in. Throws for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns, wins you the game. He's clearly the best quarterback they had on the roster. So why was he not in? Nobody really knows. I mean, was he not healthy? I guess it's a possibility. He did say, JT Daniels said this after the Mississippi State game. He said he was healthy and ready to go, but he was still getting better mobility-wise. So maybe it came down to, okay, he can play, but he's not quite physically at the level we need him to be at. I don't know. Maybe nobody actually knows the truth in that. If they say they do, they're lying. So obviously, yeah, JT came in, had a great first game, great debut, pretty much perfect. Second game, here's the problem. I think JT Daniels is a great quarterback, and from what I've seen so far, he can deliver Georgia a national championship. He can. I'm not saying will. He can. But Kirby Smart let him pass 16 times in the South Carolina game. Now, he passed 38 times in the Mississippi State game. That's because he had to. They would have lost that game if they had a worse quarterback or JT Daniels didn't pass that much because they couldn't run the ball. So he only passed that much because he had to, and everybody was thinking, oh, okay, now Georgia's got this high-powered passing attack. They go into South Carolina, a game that you can easily win. Why not air it out? Get your new quarterback some reps in before the season, get him comfortable, show everybody what you're capable of. Instead, you pass it 16 times. That just Makes no sense to me. It makes no sense at all. Like, he was good when he was throwing the ball. He was pretty good, but I just don't understand. Why are you doing that? Literally, you just got to pass the ball, get more comfortable. All these high-powered offenses. Florida, what happened last year when they lost to Georgia? With Kyle Trask, he was still pretty new then. They started airing it out and destroying teams through the air. Everybody knows you can run the ball. You can run circles around South Carolina, just running it up the middle. Everybody knows that. You got to establish a passing game because you're not going to, if you go into a game against Alabama or Florida again or an elite team, run it. You're not going to run the ball and pass it just 16 times and win the game. You know that. So why would you not practice doing that against lower level competition? Why would you not practice passing the ball more like you're going to have to do against a team like Alabama or Florida? It just makes no sense to me. So for the rest of the season, what I think Kirby needs to do is air it out. He needs to let JT Daniels play. We know you can run the ball in Vanderbilt. If I see JT Daniels have less than 20 attempts against Vanderbilt this weekend, then that's a real problem. Everybody knows you can run the ball up Vanderbilt's throat every play. Like, whatever. We want to see JT Daniels. We want to see what he's capable of. We want to get him comfortable in the offense and prepare for a big game next year. Because guess who you play week 1? Clemson. If JT Daniels is throwing the ball 15, 16 times a game, then he has to go against Clemson and drop 30, 40 passes. I mean, I'm not saying he'll be bad, but it's just a completely different game. There's some rumors flying around about JT Daniels possibly leaving to the draft. I don't think that's true. He's only played, 15 games freshman year at USC and then a few games to close out this year. He's not going to the NFL. I will be shocked if he does. But if he stays, this Georgia offense can be very, very good. Obviously, JT Daniels, who I think can be a top quarterback, not the top, but one of the best quarterbacks in the country next season. And this wide receiver core for Georgia can also be very good. George Pickens will be back for his junior season. Jermaine Burton, who's really come on strong towards the end of this year. Kyrus Jackson should likely be back. Dominique Blaylock, who was great in his freshman year, missed this year though. Arian Smith, who missed most of this year. You saw a little bit of him in the South Carolina game. He's a speed demon. Marcus Rosemy. He's a very talented freshman, of course, had that very, very terrible injury in the Florida game, but he'll be back next season. And possibly Demetrius Robertson, former 5-star number 1 wide receiver in the class, hasn't really lived up to his potential, but again, he does have potential. So if he's back next season, this could be a very, very deep wide receiver core and very talented wide receiver core for Georgia. Of course, Georgia fans, you guys probably know all those guys. Other college fans, you might not know them, but trust me, they're all very talented. And the running back room, if Zeus stays, which I think is likely, I'm not really sure if he'll stay or go, the running back room will all be back, which is really good. You'll have Kendall Milton back, who's a really good running back. So yeah, this offense could be very, very deadly next season if Kirby decides, hey, we got to pass the ball to be a good offense. Like, look at all the best offenses. They all pass the ball. Not like 50 times a game, but you would never catch Clemson letting Trevor Lawrence throw the ball 15 times in a game. You never catch Florida throw the ball 15 times in a game. That just wouldn't happen. So the ceiling next year for this offense, I think, is a national championship. It's definitely possible. They have all the talent in the world that they need. So yeah, that's going to do it for the video. Just sort of my thoughts on the JT Daniels situation, what he can bring to the table.